Good morning, I'm Deb Helfrich. It is the long weekend of Juneteenth, 2020. I believe wholeheartedly in building an anti-racist world. And as the original well-being philosopher, I'm here to talk about actual concrete ways to address the diseased thinking, the mind virus, that is the foundation of the US of hypocrisy. And I want to do so in a very loving, yet firm, that shit is wrong way. This involves help from you. I'm looking for a producing partner to create improvs and one-woman shows and lots of little video series and ebooks to help people learn the skills of philosophy, which is simply the academic study of mental fitness. Our minds need help. The virus has created a world of entirely new questions. As of March 2020, Precedent has left Earth, and there is an abundance of opportunity for someone to step on the global stage as a philosopher. And I'm here to tell you, somebody will. And I am the one who you want to put your money behind, because I am concerned with everyone. There's a lot of personal background that will convince you of that, but trust me, because I'm smarter than math. Now, philosophy is about thinking about how we think about things, and I can think about math in a way that can make you go, whew. That's a pretty limited endeavor of humanity. Now, right now, we believe that how we evaluate truth in the world is counting. 1 + 1 = 2. Now, how we evaluate stuff and aggregate stuff and build bridges, 1 + 1 = 2, counting math is very important, but it's not the only type of math. There is the math of life. And I'm going to introduce you to how simple it is to understand that 1 + 1 = 3. The ABCs and 1 + 1 = 3 of well-being philosophy proceed as such. The ABCs are anti-racism, bioelectricity, and consciousness, understood as the easy problem. Within these 3 genres of thinking, as I convince you of the strength of the philosophical argument supporting anti-racism, I'll also help you figure out how to fix global warming. When I talk about bioelectricity, this is a customary, proprietary, intellectual property that you're investing in, that I have created, that explains human health holistically. It accounts for the fact that we were all born in Africa. Every single one of us, no matter how pale or freckled our skin or red our hair might be. And once you learn the tools of evolutionary logic, why we have to talk about all being born on the continent of Africa, you use evolution, the skills and thought processes of evolution, think about consciousness. Evolution, as we basically think of it, 97% of the time is about bodies, is about the long haul from fish, reptiles, birds, mammals, us. This is truth. I'm sorry that there are apparently people in the US of hypocrisy who don't want to teach kids that. Let's let them die off. Racism has a shelf life of 30 years or less. It's a philosophical hypothesis, and it comes down to this: kids are not born racist. We teach them that. The United States is great at teaching racism. Sell it that, and we need to stop. Now, if our kids aren't born racist, and those of us who are functioning adults stop teaching them racism, then the current crop of racists will die off in 30 years or less. We don't need to fight them. We need to organize as intellectuals who can conceive that skin color is not a valid discriminatory categorization. The color of one's skin says nothing about the character, the heart, the brain of anyone. So let's move on, shall we? And learn how to love all colors of skin. That's what really is truly the well-being philosophy ethos. Is many people right now are going to have to atone for racism. But we need some people who may have been anti-racist their whole lives to also be out and proud racial harmony practitioners, able to come right into the harm and hurt happening right here today. Do not get it twisted. Much has to happen, and I am here to support economic empowerment for all Black people around the globe, regardless of nation, of origin. I've tried to use LinkedIn because they say that that's their mission, to enable an economic empowerment, and they fail like crazy. They won't even listen to me right now. So you're investing in getting me to get LinkedIn to listen to concrete suggestions using the math of life, 1 + 1 = 3, to have there be a platform where people can actually do business with people in Africa. This is its mission, and it fails. You can do business with people in the US from LinkedIn. Just one of the many, many concrete ways that my gaining a platform, by doing these videos, starts to change the world. Anti-racism, bioelectricity, consciousness reimagined. Now, this is a complex one. You need to want to listen to me for quite some time. But I can set up what you're going to learn in a real simple thing. By calling consciousness the hard problem, creating a chicken and egg dilemma, begging that there's no answer while you ask the question. Consciousness is really pretty easy to understand. Come away from all of the counting of consciousness and come into the fact that you're experiencing it 24/7 since you've been born, and start extrapolating into hypotheses from the fact that you know you're conscious. What can we talk about it? How can we talk about it? This is a very easy problem to solve. It's happening all over the world. Why can't we create a definition? People are telling you it's hard to do so. Evolutionary logic is easily described in the chicken and egg. There's no conundrum there. There's a 100% accurate answer. I'm gonna give it to you, and you're going to use this chicken and egg conundrum subterfuge to start thinking better. And by better, I mean more logical. To start being able to do deductive reasoning, Sherlock style, and say, well, somebody says that, and it's written in a whole bunch of books, but I object, because I'm over here living. And I have a valid, completely different experience of life than all y'all. Who's lost 150 pounds in the 15 months since turning 50. So there's a lot of thinking here, a lot of complexity, and I am indeed improving it. I could write it all down and make it very logical. What I am actually doing right now is trying to hip you to the complexity of thinking that highly analytical people are using all the time. They keep it to themselves because we're a world that wants 1 + 1 = 2 thinking. That's how we build our education system. That's how we evaluate who's smart and who's not smart. But math is limited. Math is dead, in fact. Let me be a little Nietzsche-ish right now and tell you math is dead. Counting math is dead. Because it takes me 9 words to convince you that 1 + 1 = 3. The valid context is 1 man + 1 woman equals a third baby. The math of life, reproduction, evolution. Can you go back and see how that answers the chicken and egg dilemma? 100%. It's a valid thing. You can't argue with that. Grown chickens become alive when they come out of an egg. Eggs are birthing mechanisms for chickens. We now have a third question. Right? Counting math is either or. 1 + 1 = 2. Philosophical life of math counting is 1 + 1 = 3. Got a chicken and an egg. We know that eggs are how chickens get born. So we say now the question on the table is, where'd the egg come from? Are you with me? Can you answer it? Because as soon as I answer it, you'll never be able to look at it the same. The egg came from a reptile. Probably 3 billion eggs had to issue forth from reptiles stillborn. Or as we would so erroneously call it, handicap. It was this thing that did this. But after those billions of reptile experiments, one reptile ended up with 2 of these things and it took off. The math of life, 1 + 1 = 3. It's how thoughts become reality. There's the whole survival of the fittest competition angle that the men made evolution solely about. Evolution is quite a great deal about cooperation. We're cooperating right now. We're going through a real complex set of philosophical, logical, evolutionary logic, Evo logic instead of ecological, just make it Evo, evolutionary logic, teaches you how to think like a live person who understands that life is different than stuff. You count stuff, and stuff doesn't become more stuff on its own. You get more people from a thought, an urge, some intensive collaboration. That's all it takes to create the most complex machine that's ever graced the planet Earth. Is the human body. And it's a magical occurrence, rigorously well known and researched. But yet, 1 + 1 = 3. Hours for lizards and birds and bees and puppies and kittens. And flowers and trees and all kinds of life forms, from single-celled amoebas up to ourselves. Evolution created humans to be the stewards of the Earth's resources. And we've failed drastically and dramatically. Helping support my work is helping us as a species, all of us, learn how to be the most intelligent life form on this planet. It comes back to trusting the mechanisms of life. looking at evolution as collaboration. I mean, what's more collaborative than making a baby? 18 years of collaboration guaranteed, unless you let our poison culture somehow get in the way of that. So I'm a broad thinker. I think about, as the founder and originator of Wellbeing Philosophy, anti-racism, bioelectricity, and consciousness re-understood. I focus on talking about the math of life and evolutionary logic. Explain the chicken and egg dilemma, how 1 + 1 = 3. And as I get people understanding my thinking, I can take on most of the seemingly intractable problems facing humanity since March 2020. I want to do this with integrity. I do not want to be bought or bossed by any existing organization created under the legacy of structural and systemic racism. We are going to have to undo a great deal. I find the challenge one that I'll dedicate the rest of my life to. And I need help right now because, like most of us, the last 150 things that I have done to deal with the world of the virus have resulted in no pennies. So we are going to consider this a $1 trillion intellectual property deal and get things sorted so that I can really truthfully sit around and do this a lot more. There's a method to my madness in what seems like rambling, because what it points out is how this all comes together. This is a function of being a human, of letting your brain run around and paying attention to how it runs around and seeing how to innovate and create and find what's valid in the world anywhere. If it's a valid something, like evolution, evolution's not just about species, it's about consciousness. Consciousness involves the consciousness, terminating it as life force. So we've done the life of math, we're re-understanding consciousness as life force. So hence consciousness is the thing that we go, there's something that's alive, which is that it moves. Simple, simple, simple. Again, I don't know who all these men are, why they feel it's so important to say consciousness is a hard problem. Consciousness is this emergent property that comes along with movement in organic cells. Deep, profound thinking that when a heart-enabled, empowered human, and it has nothing to do with education. I think many people at this point would say something about well-educated. I actually believe that non-Western educated people, adults in, say, Botswana, will have an easier time following along with me than all the rest of y'all. You're so into argumentation and show me the study. You might as well be saying, show me the dollars. It's just green. What you think that you know that is the truth, an advertisement. That's why people outside the consumerist, capitalist, tech-enabled adulthood will understand and enjoy my hypotheses more than the rest of y'all that just like white supremacy and white fragility. There's going to be a period where you're going to have to become exceedingly unstabilized in the certainty of your own magnificence. And then you come right to me and I'll give you the magnificence back as a member of 7.8 billion individuals who belong to species Homo sapiens sapiens. That wisdom part, that second sapiens gets dropped because we're also very busy and we only have 5-second attention spans. I'm shaving off the whole, whatever, however much anyone else thinks, it's down to 5 seconds and dipping fast. This right here, what I've produced, is the kind of Socratic monologue that it will increase your attention span. Your mental fitness, your well-being philosophy is focused entirely on getting you to understand the power of human thought to change everything on earth. All of these systems and structures, these things that seem to be inherently part of the earth, they all came from diseased brains of a handful of white European males. Let's be done with them. Let's be done with that disease of patriarchy. I know how. And I got implementations and entertainments and love to share in my purpose to unite the globe. All right, y'all. I'm expecting some calls. Get in touch and let's get some funding to really put the right container around this sort of edutainment. I look forward to partnering with you. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Be well, and remember, consciousness is life force, and your life force, your health is your wealth.